goes on the road against Alabama in a 1 versus 2 matchup and gets that dub. Big Blue Nation goes 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. Of course, we got Bubble Watch, and the Conductor's Corner makes its triumphant return tonight. All that and more right now, recording live from somewhere. This is One and Done.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by
It's
drroto.com.
time once again for everybody to come aboard that One and Done train. Welcome to One and Done. Bienvenidos a todos a One and Done, your fast break of college basketball información. We are powered by the multiverse's greatest website, and that would be drroto.com. I'm your sometimes humble host. My name is Jay Heinrich, and I happen to be the conductor of the aforementioned One and Done train, and you will recognize the fact that I am solo dolo tonight. Valentine's weekend, everybody's taking their shifts, having some time away, doing their thing, and guess what? You get the old conductor in the captain's chair today. Of course, our guy Mike, the captain of the One and Done ship at MC Holland 34. My guy Eric the Blue at Fantasy Nav pushing the buttons tonight at the Real Napier. Our guy CC Hustle doing things behind the scenes as well. But most importantly, oh, there he is. Speaking of, his ears must have been on fire. There he is. What's up, Nape? Good to see you there. And of course, the most important follow on the socials is at One and Done CBB across all platforms. Just search for us there and find us. But more importantly than that, make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. That really helps us out here. If you appreciate the work we do on One and Done, show us some love by hopping in the live chat as well, like Nate did. And then our guy Darren E., who is all over our Twitter posts. We definitely appreciate all those interactions. Good to see you, Darren. The office is open. I'm not getting involved with any insurance or CEOs or anything like that. I don't want anything to do with that, Darren, but you are accepted here on One and Done no matter what. So it's good to see you. Make sure you hop in there like Darren and Chris did. 1,342 subs. Not too shabby. Our guy Mike did some radio work not too long ago, making big appearances, doing big things. Got a little boost from that. And we appreciate you for hanging out with us. And we'd appreciate it if you hit that button as well. A good old news and notes show tonight. So make sure that once our little ticker over here pops up, if you see something that you want to talk about, oh, there it is right there. Look at that. Okay, Eric pushing those buttons right on cue. If there's something that you want to make sure that we hit on any of those topics, put it in the chats. And if you're watching later, not live, but later, make sure you hop in the comments and let us know what you think about all the happenings in the world of college basketball. All right, some headlines today. This week in college hoops. I talked about it in the cold open. Little 1v2 matchup. You don't see those too often. And you don't necessarily see the team win on the road, but that's what Auburn did, solidifying their #1 ranking. Auburn got that 94-85 victory. But what was more impressive about it, IMO, is that Auburn was not even healthy, and which is not surprising considering that most of their starters are about 5 years from qualifying for Social Security, I believe. But, you know, you got Janai Broome and Chad Baker-Mazara limited. Broome still gave them 19, 14, and 6. So, okay, yeah, I mean, limited, right? Tahad Pettiford continues to be a force off the bench. 13 points on 5 of 10 shooting. And Auburn only turned the ball over 4. That's right. Not even 4 times the entire game. That's a good way to get 94 points, especially if you're hitting shots. The Tigers are now 23-2 against the #1 ranked strength of schedule. So is there really any doubts who should be in that #1 seat right now? I don't think so. When you look at the Alabama side, they just weren't making shots. And I guess a big part of that, I should say, not a little bit, but a large part of that was Auburn's defense. I mean, it's hard to win games when you're only shooting 19% from 3. Obviously, when Mark Sears only goes 4 of 17 from the field, that's going to be tough for Alabama to pull out a victory there. I'm not really going to give the Tide too much grief, though. They are 21-4 against the second rated strength of schedule in the gauntlet that is the SEC. Every night feels like a quad one opportunity there. Yeah. Can you really have time to worry about this result either? Because their final 6 games are all against top 30 teams in KenPom. Put it in your rear view. Roll Tide. Roll that memory. Just right on the back. Be a goldfish. Short memory. Move on. That's what you got to do. Auburn and Bama. What a game that was. 94-85 again. Living up to the billing for sure. And you know what else is going to live up to the billing this March? That's BracketBids. Our friends over there at BracketBids. Wow, right there. Pew, 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 pew. Right up there above my head. Listen, if you're unfamiliar with what BracketBids is, our friends over there are giving you a new way to approach March. Yeah, we like our brackets, and they have pick'em contests too that are for free. You can get over to bracketbids.com or download the BracketBids app today and find those free pick'em contests. But what you can't do without the promo code BREAD is get 40% off of your league activation fees for the auction drafts that take place on the site. No, what do you mean auction? Like this is fantasy sports? What are we doing here? Yeah, you actually bid against your other league mates to decide, okay, I want to, do I really want to spend that much money, $40 of my salary on Kentucky? Or, you know, what if I want to go $80 of my whole, stack on Auburn because I think they're going to win? You got to decide how to do it. It's a fun new approach. You could do like upset pick bonuses. We love a good upset in March, right? Well, BracketBids lets you include upset bonuses that reward those bold picks. Track your teams with live in-game scoring and watch the standings shift in real time. You already got 40 screens up anyway. I went with BracketBids as well. Again, promo code BREAD for 40% off of your league activation fees there for those auction drafts and any other thing over there at bracketbids.com and on the BracketBids app. Make sure you go over there and use the promo code BREAD for 40% off. Thanks to our friends at BracketBids for sure for hanging out with us and partnering this March or February. We're in February, so it feels like, how are we already in mid-February, guys? Like, this is kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is. Darren hopping in. Bama's still deep. Their draw will influence how far they go. I mean, you can say that about a lot of teams, I think, like we saw some projected draws from Lenardi not too long ago, and you're like, well, if that's the 4 seed, So, good point, though, Darren. Keep those live chat comments rolling. Oh, actually, let me rolling. Let me go a little bit deeper for the Lint Biscuit cut there. Of hands up or hands out. You could do it, Push all those buttons and hop in with us as we now move on to shorthanded Kentucky falling at Texas, another team that wasn't at full strength, but it's, they couldn't pull out the victory. Texas winning 82-78. It's right up the road from me here, actually, at the Mood, as they call it, the old Moody Center. Kentucky did not have Lamont Butler or Jackson Robinson, and they still only lost by 4. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about this Texas team later on in the Conductor's Corner, but for now, without that primary ball handler, it was just too much for Kentucky to overcome. They only shot 25% from 3, 15 turnovers, which kudos to Texas for forcing a few turnovers there. But when you aren't strong defensively, and Kentucky really hasn't stopped anybody lately. I know Tennessee didn't score a lot against them, but it's Tennessee. Okay, anytime you hold Tennessee under 70 points, it's not like you need a parade. Okay, so Kentucky's not stopping anybody. And they definitely didn't stop Trey Johnson. It was the Trey Johnson show, as a matter of fact, 32-9 and 3 for the Longhorns. Kentucky had no answer, like zero answer for Johnson or Tremont Mark, who had 26. This was a Texas squad that was also without Arthur Kaluma. Big-time win for Coach Terry in a season of not too many big-time wins. Probably has the team back in the field for now, but again, we'll talk more about that later. 16 wins so far on the season for Texas. If they can get 3 out of the next 5, a 19-win SEC team is probably going to get in, maybe win a game or 2 in the SEC tournament or whatever. But a whole week off now before traveling to a winless South Carolina team in conference play anyway for the Longhorns. So again, is this long layoff? You beat Kentucky. Are you feeling yourself? Everybody on campus is telling you how great you are again, and then you can't overlook a South Carolina team for sure. But Kentucky can't overlook anybody else on their schedule. I mean, Alabama and Auburn left on Kentucky's schedule still. Obviously, we just talked about where those teams are. Hey, Peanut Butter Posse, what's up, my guy? Travis Perry almost led you a road win. He did. And that's, again, I think that speaks more about where Texas is than necessarily Kentucky. When you're down that much, when you're down that much talent at such an important position. I don't know. Like Kentucky still had a chance to win that game. I don't know if you're screwed, man, but you got to have your guys healthy, peanut butter posse for sure. So yeah, Texas getting that 4-point win at home over Kentucky. I said it earlier: 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. Probably lose to Vandy. I don't know, man. What do you think? Are those if Kentucky shot less than 25%? Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, here's the deal. Texas is not that great. Kentucky was in this game, right? Peanut butter posse, I think you're being a little too hard here. You got some chances to pick up some quality wins and really improve that tournament resume, get that seed up a little bit. We'll see how it goes there. Good stuff. How's Big Blue Nation? How you hanging in there besides peanut butter posse? Anybody else feeling it? Let us know in the live chat. Let us know if you were taking a little bit of pleasure maybe in Big Blue Nation. Mark Pope not hitting a home run necessarily in his first season down there. We love Coach Pope, friend of the show. Go back and watch that interview we did with him from a couple of years ago when he was still at BYU. Maybe he got that, the one and done rub. Who knows? We've interviewed a few coaches that they've gotten, better jobs there. Coach Riley went from Eastern Washington to Washington State. Like, who knows? Send us your code. Hey, if you think we should interview somebody, put it in the chat for sure. Belly Ball hopping in. Good to see Belly Ball in the chat. Robinson Butler out and Carr nowhere near 100%. You are hurting. Yes, no doubt about it. But again, you were in that game. You were in that game for sure. We'll see how it goes. Keep the live chat rolling, and let's keep this show rolling after everybody hits those like and subscribe buttons, of course. UConn shocked by Seton Hall this weekend in overtime. And, of course, Coach Hurley is on his best behavior as always. You never would expect anything less, but that's another show, I think. Seton Hall got that 1-point win, 69-68. UConn falls to 9-5 in Big East play here. Is it time to start? I think it is time to start considering the fact that they're sort of toying around with not making the tournament. Like, unfortunately for fans of college basketball, because I kind of want to see UConn get in, and then I almost want UConn to get in, and then not. It's almost like I love the UNC crash out of not even making the tournament after you make the championship game the year before. I love a good crash out like that. And what do I want to watch? UConn three-peat or UConn go out in a blaze of glory? That's sort of what I'm thinking about here. So, Hurley taunted the Creighton fans the game before, right? And then you come into Seton Hall and take a loss. This team is not just good enough defensively to win it all again. We kind of knew that. But again, Villanova is absolutely desperate coming to town here next week. We'll see how UConn looks at home against that team coming in. Villanova needs a win for sure. So can UConn bounce back? We'll see. Of course they can. Hurley's a great coach. And I can't wait until he turns and looks at somebody and says, I turned down the Lakers. That's happening. It's going to happen eventually. But do we really think that Dan Hurley would be the Walter Payton Man of the Year? I do, Belly Ball. I love it. Salt of the earth. What a guy. Just the guy that you want, always out there front facing and everything like that. Good stuff, Belly Ball. I appreciate that humor for sure. Keep the live chat rolling. UConn losing to Seton. I mean, they let the Pirates. They were ahead comfortably in this game, right? But you can't turn the ball over in college basketball against anybody. They just turn the ball over way too much. We'll see. Huskies losing. We saw them when we were out in Vegas. When was that? Was that last year on the way when we went out to Vegas and hung out there, and we saw UConn at that regional. Yeah, it's good stuff out there. We love some Hurley for sure. We know you do too. We know you love watching some of these teams lose, unless you're a fan of them, like our guy Peanut Butter Posse is. So make sure you hop in the live chat, like and subscribe buttons. Speaking of some blue blood type names that are struggling, Kansas dropping another one at that Big 12 classic rivalry of Kansas and Utah. But either way, they couldn't find a way to beat Utah on the road. Utah getting the 7-point win. Funny that we just talked to UConn, another preseason team that, again, is just, in the immortal words of Joe Namath, struggling. Not necessarily the way that they expected this one to go. How do you get out rebounded by 12? 42-30. against Utah. It's not like they did anything spectacular. They just wanted it. If you watch that game, they were just hungrier. 10 more offensive rebounds. There's the differential right there, basically, in the rebounding, is that Utah was strong on the offensive glass. The fact that A.J. Storr and Rylan Griffin have struggled is what's limiting the ceiling of that team for sure. But, doesn't get any easier on Tuesday. Kansas on the road at BYU, who, they lost Coach Pope, but it's not like they're exactly struggling. Again, that's a callback. But either way, hey, tough one. Let's see if Kansas can rebound on the road. Make sure you hit all of those like and subscribe buttons. Peanut Butter Posse hopping in, asking about the NBA All-Star Game. What are they doing? I was watching, politics aside, right? I saw Obama on a podcast the other day. No, we're not turning this political, guys. Okay. Obama on a podcast, I forget who it was the other day. Maybe Halliburton. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But he was talking about how, the NBA, they don't treat it seriously, right? It's out there and I wanted to try a little bit, right? Like, I wanted to try. We'll see, though, Peanut Butter Posse. Love it. Love it. Cougars are the best team in the Big 12? Okay. All right, Darren. We know tortilla tossing Red Raiders. If you know Texas Tech, they love to toss some tortillas. Hey, listen, I wouldn't want to play against Texas Tech in any tournament, period. If I talk about looking at your bracket or your spot in the bracket, when it gets released and you see Texas Tech like in a second round game, you don't want that. You don't want it, period. Nobody wants to play that team. So, good stuff there. Like and subscribe buttons. We're at like 11,000 million subs right now. I can't remember. Maybe it's like 1,342 or something like that. I don't know. But hit the button anyway. Like and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a minute of our coverage. At One and Done CBB all over all the social media platforms, of course, right there on the bottom of the screen there. At One and Done CBB, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky. Woo-hoo, that's right. And X, going to start dropping bets places. Just follow us all, do your thing. Hit the follow button on all those platforms. Show us some love. We appreciate you for sure. Now that you've hit the button, let's move on to Houston and Arizona. The Cougs keep cooking, outlasting Arizona on the road, 62-58. Quite a different type of a game than the Auburn and Alabama one. But the train keeps rolling for the Cougars. They did what they do, right? Limited the three ball, didn't turn the ball over, and showed toughness down the stretch. That's that Kelvin Sampson DNA that's instilled in that team. Unfortunately for Arizona, this does seem to be a missed opportunity, right? Not even just for a win. They did. Obviously Houston only scoring 62. You held them to 62 points. That's good. But I don't know, man. They couldn't pull it off. The more important thing to me right now for this Arizona team and why I love Arizona in tournament time. Last 2 years I picked them to win. Obviously, it did not work out in dramatic fashion one of those years, as a matter of fact. But this is like one of those things where they don't have that physicality, that toughness factor. It just doesn't seem like Arizona has it at this point. I want to see the physicality, and I want to see I love Caleb Love. Love. I love Caleb Love. Anyways, the point is, you can't just 1 for 8 from 3, right? I can't have it. And that's who he is. I've said it before on this show. He's going to go 3. He could go 3 for 14, but 4 for 13. It hits the game-winning 3 at the very end or something like that. Something crazy, right? He just shows up at the right time for you. But sometimes he also has a tendency to shoot this Arizona team out of games. It doesn't help that they didn't get any production from the front court either. You just don't know who's going to show up. Who's showing up? Which team is going to show up for Arizona? You don't know. That makes it really tough to rely on them in a bracket, which probably means they'll go on a run and win it all. Now that I hop off of that bandwagon, so put that in your old mental, treasure box when it comes time to filling out your bracket. But Arizona's a team that's just tough to trust. Right. Now, don't you think Houston is a 1 seed? Let me know. Houston on that 1 line. Who are the other 1 seeds in your opinion right now? Drop it in the live chat. Let us know in the comments who are your 1 seeds right now as we're doing this recap show. What's today? What did we do? Today's Sunday. It is Sunday. Tomorrow's Monday. Get the day off. How about that? I hope you have Monday off. If you're watching live with me right now on Sunday, I appreciate you. Make sure you hit all those buttons. Like, subscribe, notification bells. If you're watching live, thank you so much. If you're watching on Monday to catch up on what happened all of last week, hop in that comment section and let us know who your number one seeds are. If your team is struggling right now, like Kentucky, like Arizona, like Kansas, a bunch of teams we're used to seeing playing really well this time of year. Not so much. Not so much. One question here before we move on. Percentage chance Kentucky knocks off a 1 or 2 seed in the tournament. Here's the deal. You know that they have the talent. It's not like if Kentucky beat a 1 seed, if they ended up a 4 or a 5, whatever it is, it's not like anybody would be like, oh my God, Kentucky beat a 1 seed in the Sweet 16. Nobody would be surprised, like at all. Nobody would be surprised if they did. I don't know. It's hard to put a percentage on that, but it's not like anybody would be shocked. And then you have Auburn, Bama, I can't read. Is it Florida, Houston, Duke? Should likely get over Houston. Okay. All right. Auburn, Duke, SEC runner-up, next SEC team. Yeah. It feels like that, man. Like the SEC, we've talked about the Big 12 being that conference, that tough, that grind on a night in and night out basis. And it's the SEC this year, man. Like there's so many good teams right now. And then you throw Duke in there. Like, God, I need glasses, guys. Anybody know a good optometrist in Central Texas? Let me know. Appreciate all you guys still keeping that live chat flowing. Look at that. Wow. We only have a couple more things to get to. Oh, of course. Looking at that, of course. We got the conductor's corner coming up. So if you got anything on Wisconsin, Purdue, anything in the bubble watch, put it in the live chat right now and we'll get to it soon. But not before we first talk about, Wisconsin, Purdue right here. Here we are. Wisconsin going on the road, taking down Purdue in that Big Ten showcase. Wisconsin with a 10-point dub, 94-84. Wisconsin got whatever it wanted offensively, shot 61% from the field, and another team that stayed under 5 turnovers for the game. As a matter of fact, only 3 turnovers for the Badgers, up to number 9 on KenPom, and it's obviously those metrics all it's ping, 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 ping. Everything looks good on paper for them for sure. 51st in 3-point shooting, 17th in turnover rates, and first, el numero uno, acknowledge your tribal chief of free throw shooting. That's who the Badgers are. Number 1 in the country. John Tonji went nuclear, of course, 32 points, and the Boilermakers had no. Okay, Tonji going for 32. Fluke. Okay, Darren, I mean, I get it. But again, I'm not saying John Tonji's going to go for 32 every night, but he did against Purdue. They had no answers at all for that. I mean, they played well offensively, right? But like Darren was saying, they didn't get any stops at all. Braden Smith wasn't exactly himself, a guy whom a lot of people consider to be the top point guard in the country, one of the top ones for sure. Had an off game by his standards. Purdue has now lost 2 in a row and go to Michigan State and Indiana back-to-back. So good luck. You better right that ship, Purdue. Boilermakers, good stuff. I got some friends that are Purdue fans. We'll see what maybe I should reach out and check on them. Who knows? Who knows? I know that you should hit those like and subscribe buttons. And after you do that, and after this show, get over to BracketBids.com or download the BracketBids app. Check out what they're doing over there. And when you decide to activate your league for pool play and those old auction drafts, and we're picking the teams that we think are going to go the farthest in March, 40% off with the promo code BREAD. You want to get this bread. My guy Mike likes to get this bread. He's not here tonight. Of course, he's out, may probably listening to the new Drake record, driving around town. Who knows? But shout out Mike, shout out Eric, shout out Nate, and shout out to you for hanging out with us here on One and Done. As, oh my gosh, getting kind of excited here. It's been a while. We had a couple of segments here on the show that we like to do. Mike has the mid-major minutes. But guess what? It is time once again for the Conductor's Corner. That's why I don't get paid, because we spend all the money that we have on graphics. That's okay. Hey, who doesn't want to lead into their own segment, right? Hey, listen, we talked about it a little bit ago. Texas got that 82-78 win over Kentucky at home. Kentucky didn't have Lamont Butler or Jackson Robinson. A game that Kentucky probably still could have won. I have not, full disclosure, if you're not a longtime listener, fan, watcher, whatever, viewer, subscriber to One and Done and Green Screens Media, as we were formerly known as, I have never hid the fact that I support the Longhorns. I'm right here in Central Texas. I've been going to UT sporting events since 1994. My cousin Andy used to take me to football games. I've been listening to Craig Way call basketball games on the radio since 2001. Bill Schoening before that, who now has been calling Spurs games for the last 2 decades. We're pretty spoiled down here in Texas with the radio guys. I even attended I was enrolled at Texas. We can use that loosely. I was enrolled at UT for a couple of years. I was in the student section when we all held up Ricky Clemens' mugshots, the old Missouri guard, after he got arrested for domestic violence, and led a couple of chants that reminded him when he was at the free throw line of what he did. I was at Big Monday in 2003 against Oklahoma. Roy Williams, the wide receiver for Texas, had just said he was coming back, my favorite football player of all time at the university, and he just happened to be talking to Dick Vitale at the old Irwin Center. So I thought it'd be a good idea to walk over, put my arm around Dick Vitale, and tell Roy Williams that I appreciated the fact that he had made the decision to come back for his senior season. And that was all before the game even started. And Texas ended up winning that Big Monday game. We all stormed the floor. It was a great time. I had season tickets in 2021 and 22 season. That last year that the Irwin Center existed, I'd drive by that demolished pile of rubble every day now that no longer is there. But here's the deal. This team's 11th in the SEC. They shouldn't. They found a way to win against Kentucky, but Kentucky probably should have won that game, okay? Looked good in the portal, not so much on the court. And again, I think that this is a Rodney Terry thing, okay? I've said this forever. No coach should ever have their first power conference coaching job at Texas in football or in basketball, period. None. And Rodney Terry is no difference. I know he was in the program. I understand that the transition from Chris Beard to Rodney Terry was a little bit, out of thin air. It had to happen. But when you got guys like Trey Johnson and Tremont Market having to bail you out on a regular basis just with talent alone, I don't see a direction. I see a team that is not as good, even not as good as their record indicates. It's turning or bust for this team. And, like I said earlier, maybe they're on the inside looking out now and they have some more chances to really try to make their case. But right now, Rodney Terry's seat is literally on fire, in my opinion. And if they don't make the tournament, I think it's time for Coach Terry to go, unfortunately. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they find a way to make it work and run off some nice wins here. But I don't think this is the team to do it. And I don't think, unfortunately, at this time, Rodney Terry is the guy either. But I hope I'm wrong. Guys, that hurts me to say, okay? Again, that's not a jaded Longhorns fan. That's somebody from the jump, man. I don't think any coach, he looks like the guy from the Matrix. Oh, okay, all right. It was a shotgun wedding indeed. That's tough. What Chris Beard is doing at Ole Miss right now is what I anticipated Chris Beard to be doing in Austin in this very moment after being here for 4 or 5 years and having that team in contention every single year. Obviously, he made a choice that does not allow that to happen. But yeah, it is what it is. Sorry to bring the show down, guys and gals. Kind of felt that the conductor's corner is usually a little more cheery than that, but tonight wasn't the night for sure. One more segment here on One and Done, and it's Bubble Watch. We got some multi-bid conferences here, of course. Let's run those down. If it sort of runs down like it is today, right? SEC would get 14, which sort of put Texas in there. Big 10 would have 10. The Big 12 would have 8. Big East would have 4. ACC would have 3, as well as the Mountain West. And then the WCC would have 2. It's sort of shocking, right, to see the ACC with only 3 teams in right now. And, yeah, that's just tough to see. So, will the ACC bounce back? Obviously, top heavy. But, you know, not a ton after that. It's not the SEC night in and night out. I promise you that. It's not even the Big 12. It's not even close. So how about it? Let's look at this bubble here. Let's talk about it. Lenardi dropping his bubble prior to this weekend's games. Last 4 in: BYU, San Diego State, Arkansas, and Georgia. A lot of talent on the last 4 in. Not teams that nobody really wants to see either way. First 4 out: VCU, SMU, Wake Forest, and Indiana. Next 4 out: Kansas State, North Carolina. That's another coach where if he doesn't make the tournament, I don't know. I don't get it. Xavier and Boise State rounding out the next 4 out there. So a few teams that we want to focus on before we burst this bubble watch. Let's start with Georgia, 16-10, same record as Texas, 4-9 in the SEC, 38th in net rating though, as 2-10 in those quad 1 games. Haven't taken advantage of the nightly opportunities to get those quad 1 wins. They're only 2-10. Currently on a 3-game skid. Huge next 10 days, though, for the Bulldogs. You got at Auburn and at home. At Auburn and at home against Florida. So a couple of chances to boost the resume a little bit, adding a top 5 win there. That's a team that we need to pay attention to see if they can get one of those. Kansas State out there in the Little Apple in Manhattan, Kansas. 13-12, 7-7 in the Big 12. 73rd in the net. Quad 1, 4-6. Obviously, that is not too shabby. But when you look a little bit farther down, 2 quad 3 losses that put a little tarnish on the resume. But the thing is they were sort of an afterthought a couple of weeks ago, right? The fact that they're even in this discussion really speaks to some of these steps forward that they've taken. The wins over Kansas and Arizona, although we just talked about how both of those teams are down, those are still good teams. And Kansas State found a way to beat both of them. They're in a position to make something happen. The Big 12, not a lot of quality opportunity in front of them on that schedule, but that Iowa State game to cap the year could be huge, and it could be something that we're looking at on one of these recap shows, saying that was the thing that pushed Kansas State over the edge and into the tournament. And lastly, the Broncos of Boise State, 17-8, 9-5 in conference, 48th in net, 2-5 in quad 1 games, but unfortunately have a quad 4 loss. They really need to win out. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry, right? The path is clear. 6 games left. They really need to win out. Favored in 5 of those 6 games in KenPom, by the way, as well. One more loss down the stretch, though, and they'll probably need to make the championship game in the Mountain West to have a chance. Of course, friend of the show, Coach Leon Rice, out there doing his thing. So we'll see if Boise State can get off that bubble on the good side when it bursts. Right now on the next 4 outline, Kansas State also on the next 4 out, and Georgia in the last 4 in. We'll see if all those teams can improve their standings and get off that bubble and do their thing. I saw the live chat roll, and let's hop in really quickly before we get out of here. Beard will be a top 10. Oh, man, don't do that to me. I know I give you shit about Kentucky, but you're right. That's the problem, is you're right, and I know you're right. That's what's so frustrating about this whole thing, is that I thought that Texas had their guy to take them to the next level. Obviously, Rick Barnes was here for a long time. Final 4 run right there. That's something that I left out of the conductor's corner was I passed out in the middle of the Final 4 game against Syracuse. I wasn't there. I'd been playing sand volleyball all day, and had a couple of libations, if you will. But yeah, man. Hey, I don't know, man. Again, I don't know if that would hit the power conference. We'll see. Ross Hodge. Hey, listen again. Lil Penny. Are we taking Lil Penny shots now? Is that what we're doing? Are we taking Lil Penny shots now? I don't blame you. Love Darren. always in the live chat and always helping us out in the live chat. Team Shaq won. Oh, great. Whatever that means is about right. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is there. That we're talking NBA All-Star, of course, on there. Hey, listen, solo dolo tonight. I appreciate everybody for hanging out with us here on the show. Shout out to who all was in there? Peanut Butter Posse, Darren, who else? Scrolled and Belly Ball. Good to see Belly Ball hopping in there with us as well. And our guy Napesy Hustle hopped in the live chat early on as well. I feel like Beard would I'm just going to go back to it. I feel like Beard would definitely have a tight grip on the SEC if he was still in Texas. But that's neither here nor there. We appreciate all of you for hanging out with us. I appreciate my guy Mike. I appreciate again my guy Chris. At MC Holland 34 and at The Real Napier, of course, at Fantasy Nav, pushing the buttons tonight. Eric, the Blue, you can find him in those Twitter streets over there at Fantasy Nav. I happen to be the conductor of the aforementioned One and Done train. Follow me at Dr. William Cannon. I will hit that follow back button for sure. Don't go too far from all your One and Done channels. Going to see if we'll get a little live before lock tomorrow for that 3-game slate. 10K to first out of nowhere for a 3-game slate. Guess what? It's mid-February and heading into March. We're getting paid on Draftkings. We're going to see those green screens for sure. And make sure you're hitting all those buttons so you not only get our news and notes content, but all of our good DFS shows with our guy El Capitan himself, Mike, hopping in here to bring you the best. He's one of the best in the business, but you know that. That's why you're here hanging out on One and Done. And I appreciate you hanging out with me tonight because I am the JAYHEINRICH. Come again. Peace out, y'all. We'll see you.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.